Hi there guys, welcome back, and today I'll be covering what if Krillin told Chi-Chi about Goku's death and Gohan being kidnapped. That isn't the full title, it just sounds weird saying what if Krillin told Chi-Chi, so I wanted to add a little bit in there. Now, anyway, last time we left off, we had Nappa and Vegeta arrive on Earth and come towards Goku's house, sent using the scouters to find Gohan's energy. And when they arrive, they are met by Krillin, Piccolo and Gohan. There is a bit of a stare down to begin with no one not really sure how to respond. With the first bit of dialogue spoken is that Vegeta noting how weak they are with them having their powers suppressed, and also confused to the fact there's a Namekian here, which Piccolo is surprised to find out he isn't a demon, he is actually an alien. But Vegeta also learns something interesting from this interaction, that humans and Saiyans can give birth to other Saiyans, seeing Gohan there, which is a good note for him to know for the future. Anyway, while this is all happening, it has brought a bit of time for the other Z fighters to show up. So Tien, Chiaotzu and Yamcha all show up to help. Now I just want to quickly cover these guys' power levels because like in canon they still went to train with Kami, however they were a training member down because Krillin was training with Piccolo for the year. Now, this would probably lead to them being a bit weaker, because they have one less person to train with. But this could also motivate them to train harder. They would probably sense Krillin's growth and want to push themselves even harder. So let's keep it simple, and let's say they are probably about the same power level as they were in canon. Just because they trained that little bit harder, it made them about the same. Now, when the Saiyans take notice of the other three's powers, they are also suppressed. So, to Nappa and Vegeta, these guys are just going to be a really easy sweep, and they're waiting for Kakarot to show up. Now, at this point, Piccolo is thinking to himself he might be able to take Nappa down if he got a good jump on him. And this means Krillin could also probably take him down. But the main concern for everyone minus Piccolo a little bit is the fact that they are right near Goku's house and Chi-Chi is in the house at this point in time. Having her run away might have caused the Saiyans to kill her, so they've just left her there. Now, instead of wanting to fight here just in case something bad was to happen, they talk the Saiyans into heading somewhere a bit closer to where Goku will be showing up. With the Saiyans being okay with this, the group thinks that if they can get a bit closer to Kami's lookout, they might also be able to send someone off to get sensu beans from Korin, alongside the fact that Goku would be here a bit faster. And at the end of the day, this will buy them some extra time. So the group flies away, and they probably reach the place the fight originally happened. Now, this did buy them a little bit of time because the group pretended to be much weaker than they were, so they were flying at a much slower rate. The Saiyans, not too happy with this, eventually get bored before they get closer to Kami's lookout, Nappa being the one who just got fed up the most. Now, like normal, they land and they get into a fighting position. Vegeta and Nappa's not seeing the Earthlings as worthy opponents. They plant some Saibamen to deal with them. Like normal, Yamcha steps up to fight the green monsters, and unfortunately, it goes the same. Nothing has changed to make Yamcha stronger or have the knowledge of what Saibamen can do, so he won't be saved here. However, what follows is the attack that Krillin sends out. Krillin is still angry that his friend died, so like normal, he uses one attack to destroy all the Saibamen. Even one that tries to hide dies, and the part of the beam that actually hits Vegeta and Nappa, his attack actually hurt Nappa quite a bit. Nothing major, but it actually did some, he could see there was some physical pain there. However, it doesn't really hurt Vegeta, and he just sort of blows it off. It did hurt him a bit more than it did in canon, but the pain is probably comparable to being, I don't know, a fly flying into your face. So now with Nappa having an idea that maybe these guys are a little bit stronger than they think they are, he gets into a fighting position. and he starts charging, with the group taking a defensive stance. At the front of the group is Piccolo, who is the closest in power to Nappa. And when Nappa makes contact, because he was underestimating the Namekian, he's met with quite a lot of pushback. Piccolo had begun to power up as fast as he could before Nappa got close enough. And Nappa, who wasn't expecting for Piccolo to be this strong, reads out his power, and it's about 4,000. It is very, very close to 5,000. So Nappa's actually in a dangerous spot here. This is someone who is about the same strength as him. And with this happening, he quickly takes the chance to knee Nappa in the face, knocking him back a bit, and giving Piccolo a nice opening to follow up with a big right hook, sending Nappa flying, crashing across the battlefield. And it only stops when the Big Saiyan takes flight. Now he's interested in how this fight will go down. He decides to take the fight much more seriously, and he won't hold back anymore. And at a much faster pace, he begins to charge towards Piccolo. However, as he gets close, he can feel his body being slowed down, as if someone was pulling on him. However, no one's there behind him to, actually be pulling him. It's Chiaotzu using his telekinesis to slow him down. Because of the power gap, he can't fully stop him. However, it's enough for Tien to hit him up with a massive barrage of ki blasts. Trying to help Piccolo give, the group a bit more ground. It doesn't hurt Nappa that much, but actually answered the question Vegeta was wondering, that the group can suppress their energy. It hasn't helped the Z fighters, but it's now given the Saiyans a little bit of knowledge. He explains what he's just figured out to Nappa, saying scouters are actually useless at this point in time, saying that he will read out their power levels whenever they fly up for Nappa. However, Nappa needs to proceed with caution. The Namekian is nearly stronger than him. The tallest, bold one with the Triclops isn't anywhere near as strong as Nappa, but the other three could be really suppressing their powers. So like this, Nappa begins to proceed with a bit more caution. Now, while this has been happening, Piccolo looked over to Tien and told him to stay out of the fight, sort of with anger. And this does piss Tien off, because he's a warrior, he's not made to sit on the sidelines. However, when Piccolo explains that they need to save as much energy as possible to take down Vegeta, it does make sense to him. Now, while this has all been going down, Krillin and Gohan have been getting ready to jump into a fight. They want to take care of Nappa, who they believe they can kill with a bit of ease. And whenever he comes in for the next attack, Krillin has decided he's going to jump in to help Piccolo. Now, while Nappa does begin to charge at Piccolo, wanting to take him out first to destroy their morale, he is blindsided by an attack from Krillin. And at this point, Krillin and Piccolo actually have a lot of synergy. They've trained with each other for a year, and they know how each other fight. So when the two unlikely friends begin to fight against Nappa, he can't catch his breath. They both know how each other's fighting style works. So when one makes a slip up, the other follows up with a good hit. And before long, they've managed to knock Nappa to the ground, and they both charge up at a ki blast to knock him out or kill him, just try and get him out of the fight as fast as they can. And after the ki blast hits, it leaves Nappa in a smoking crater. He isn't dead, he's just hanging on to life, but he is out of the fight now. The two look at each other and give each other a smile and a nod. They, like I said, they're unlikely friends. It's a weird friendship they have, but it's definitely a friendship. Now, like normal, Vegeta looks over to Nappa, and he's more disappointed in Nappa than he was originally. He's just lost to some Earthlings and a Namekian. It's not like he lost to Goku. He's lost to Earthlings. And like that, he just kills Nappa, even more disrespectfully than in normal. Vegeta then shares his disinterest in fighting anyone there, but he does feel like he needs to avenge the Saiyan they just made him kill. And also, he needs a warm-up before Kakarot gets here, so he does feel like, yeah, he'll kill one or two of them. Just so, when Kakarot does get here, he might be a bit more of an interesting fight. However, the pair don't waste a second. After hearing this, they try flying straight towards Vegeta, but it doesn't do anything. Vegeta quickly knocks the pair away with ease. Now, when they get back up, very much hurt, there is a huge power difference here. Gohan notes that he will be joining into the fight as well. And a big 3 versus 1 fight jumps out where they're all trying to take care of Vegeta, working together. They all have trained with each other. Gohan's a mix between the Turtle style of fighting and Piccolo's style of fighting, so he's quite good to be working with the pair of them. But his fighting style is a bit imperfected. Now, they are trying to get Vegeta's tail, thinking this is the way to beat him. And they just need the moment. They just need Vegeta to slip up for just one moment for someone to grab it. They do have the number advantage, and because they know how each other fights, they actually can use that to their advantage. But the downside is they're not using everyone who's present. Tien and Chiaotzu are just sort of sat on the sidelines. Tien doesn't know how he can help at this point. He feels like he either will just get in the way or will just get killed. But he does have an idea. He thinks back to many years ago and comes up with a plan. He looks over to Chiaotzu, who's also sat with him, and tells him to fly off and grab something out of Vegeta's sight and be as fast as he physically can. Now, Vegeta doesn't actually notice Chiaotzu disappear, but it's not because he's distracted. It's more the fact that Chiaotzu's so small he can just sort of slip away between rocks, and he's also engaged in combat he sort of has to pay attention to. He doesn't want to get hit too much, you know. Now, while the three are fighting, and they're sort of putting some push on Vegeta, but Vegeta is just having fun with them. He does know they have a plan, he's just trying to figure out what it is. You know, it's always funny watching weaker life forms try to come up with a plan to beat the Prince of all Saiyans, so he's sort of used to it. And just while he's distracted by a quick attack that was going through his face from Krillin, Gohan actually slips out of his peripheral vision just for a second, and that's all they needed. Gohan's now behind him and has ripped Vegeta's tail from around his waist and is starting to pull on it. He knows this is a good weakness Saiyans have. Not only did it apparently affect his father, anytime someone grabbed his tail while he still had it, it really hurt. But when Vegeta feels the grab on his tail, he doesn't even respond weirdly. Piccolo and Krillin have a smile on their face. They think they've finally got the advantage. However, Vegeta just looks at them and punches the pair right in the gut, causing them to collapse straight onto their knees. It hurt a lot. And he slowly turns around to Gohan, explains the fact that him and Nappa came over that weakness years ago. It was the first thing he thought to do. It was a terrible weakness, but you can get used to it with a bit of training. Now, with Vegeta turned around, however, about to hit Gohan, Krillin and Piccolo do take the chance to charge Vegeta, pushing him back away from Gohan. And they both go to land a big hit. Two different sort of hits. Piccolo just wants to try and blast a hole through Vegeta, and has got one of his hands at a close enough proximity that he possibly could. And Krillin's decided he's just going to sledgehammer Vegeta on the head. He wants to knock him down that hopefully someone else can do something with. This is actually quite a good thing. It's put Vegeta on the back foot for a second. He now analyses in the time he has which attack's probably going to do more damage. He knows he can only stop one, and in that brief moment he decides to put Piccolo as the bigger threat, so he quickly blasts Piccolo in return, putting a hole through Piccolo, sending him straight to the ground. However, this does mean Krillin's attack does connect, and it probably hits a bit harder because Krillin just saw Piccolo, one of his newfound friends, almost killed. Now, Gohan is a little bit away from this, but he did see a beam get shot through Piccolo's chest, and he sees that Vegeta is now on the ground, and he's taking a little bit too long for Gohan's liking to get back up. So he quickly starts charging up a Masenko. And now I'm sorry to bother you with this, but I just need to do a bit of math to get Gohan's power level after this. Now, Gohan's power level is 3,400 in this what if. So the Masenko, from what I know, gives a 2 point times increase to power. So Gohan's gone from a power level of 3,400 to 7,140. But let's give him a rage boost because he's just seen one of his mentors die. And that puts his power at 14,280. Yeah, that was fun. Great. I love maths. Now, Now back to the story quickly. When this blast is fired, Krillin senses how strong it is, and it's actually stronger than anyone else there other than Vegeta. He quickly jumps out of the way, grabbing Piccolo, and they both sort of just barely dodge this attack. Piccolo, who has also begun to heal from the wound Vegeta had inflicted. When the blast connects with Vegeta, it actually really hurts and starts pushing him backwards a bit. He did manage to grab it to start trying to stop it, but it's still really hurting him. And eventually Vegeta does manage to stop it, but this isn't before it explodes, sending him quite flying. The group has actually managed to grab some momentum now. Piccolo, who can start talking again, looks over to Gohan, gives him a thumbs up and says, "Well done." That is the best hit anyone has done on Vegeta all day, and it came from arguably one of the weakest. However, this isn't going to save Gohan from the savage beatdown Vegeta's about to give him. Vegeta flies at Gohan full speed, and the boy does have a little bit of a chance to react. He does try to put his defences up, but Vegeta just isn't giving him a chance to breathe. Krillin and Piccolo they try to jump in to help Gohan, but they just can't seem to get in the way. Vegeta's moving too fast for them, and anytime they get close enough, he's sort of just moving them out of the way effortlessly. Now, Krillin, taking note on the fact that Vegeta isn't paying attention to them at all, not wanting to leave Gohan, but knowing this might be the best opportunity to get, jumps away and starts charging up his Kienzon. Piccolo, knowing what this attack can do, not only knowing how to do the attack, also pretty much saw Krillin make it, decides that he needs to get in front of Gohan now. He manages to just slip in front, just barely, and he begins to take the beat down which Vegeta is giving to Gohan. He's trying to put up a bit of a fight, but he can't at the moment. Now Vegeta doesn't mind, he just thinks he's going to beat through Piccolo to get to the younger Saiyan, and that's when he notices the bold one's missing. He turns around to see what's happened and can see he is quite far back, and he looks like he's charging something, but he doesn't think too much of it. He turns back around to, maybe throw Piccolo into this attack or whatever. However, he's already jumped up into the air, and at this point, Krillin has thrown the Kienzon, and unfortunately it doesn't hit, but it just does cut off Vegeta's tail, which was sticking out still. It does hurt him a lot, and this also means no Ozaru is going to happen. It's helped the group a lot at this point. Now, while Vegeta's screaming and cursing at the fact his tail has just been cut off, he notices that the Triclops has just been sat over there, not moving, waiting for something to come. And then he notices Chiaotzu flying towards the group. And just to get his own back, he quickly blasts Chiaotzu out pretty much with one hit, killing him. He's just left as a smoking body at this point. Vegeta begins to laugh, and Tien's horrified. Everyone's horrified. He killed Chiaotzu with one hit. But when Tien goes over to check Chiaotzu's body just to see if he somehow survived, he notices that Chiaotzu got what he asked him to do. And he apologises to Chiaotzu, grabs his friend, moves him away from the battle, and grabs the thing he was holding, a bottle and a seal. Tien now has everything he wanted Chiaotzu to go and get. He's upset Chiaotzu died, but he's happy he died getting what he needed. He can now avenge his friend. He then puts down the bottle in front of him. Piccolo, recognising the technique, quickly wraps his arm around Vegeta and throws him into the ground. Vegeta was distracted because he was laughing, and this gave Piccolo the chance to sort of quickly change the flow of the fight. Now, while this is happening, Tien is sat there and he's replaying something he saw Master Roshi do years ago. Tried it once before, and Master Roshi did explain the basics to him, but he has never pulled it off in practice. So now he's just got to sort of hope he can do it on the first attempt, otherwise they won't be able to manage this. So while this is happening, Vegeta manages to pull himself off the floor. It didn't really hurt being thrown into the ground, and he flies straight back up at Piccolo and Gohan, ready to start beating on them again. However, Krillin, noticing this, moves in front and starts taking the front of the assault for the two, knowing that the two are very hurt and they are barely afloat at the moment. And at this point, the three are really running out of energy. Gohan's probably the most depleted, so he's not really helping. However, when Vegeta does get the upper hand, he grabs Krillin by the head and slams him straight into the ground, almost knocking the turtle student out. However, with the last bit of consciousness he has, he turns around and solar flares Vegeta, which gives Gohan and Piccolo a chance to turn the tide of the fight again. And they punch Vegeta repeatedly and he can feel himself losing ground very slowly. However, all of a sudden, before his vision returns, they stop beating on him. And he then turns around to see Tien aiming his hands towards him and shouting out, "Evil containment wave," or Mafaba, depending on which one you prefer. And Vegeta begins to get sucked into a green swirl, which slowly pulls him down into a small bottle near Tien. For a moment, it looks like Tien actually misses the bottle, but he didn't. He just about pulled it off. And before anything else can happen, he quickly throws the seal down. And now they've got Vegeta. They have literally only just won. Tien is pretty much completely out of energy. And now they're all just collapsing to the floor. They didn't have a lot left in them. And at this point, if the fight dragged on any longer, they probably would have died. They all rest for about an hour. And they can sense Goku's energy. And they note how strong he is, saying that it probably would have been easier if Goku got here a bit faster. When he arrives, he's upset he didn't get to fight any Saiyans, and he's upset that Chiaotzu and Yamcha died. But he's happy most of the group came out alive, and he's proud of his son, Krillin, Tien, and he's even happy to hear that Piccolo was a big help in the fight. So, after they've all gathered a little bit more energy, they all fly up to Kami's lookout, and Tien gives Kami the capsule with Vegeta in it, telling him to get rid of it. Now, while they're all still trying to catch their breaths, Goku flies down to Korin's tower and gets them all a sensu bean. There's only 2 left, so he splits them in 2, giving half to each of everyone there. Goku doesn't need it. He sort of just arrived. He probably could have moved a lot faster, but he didn't want to waste all that energy. Now, when the group come to the realization that they won't be able to bring Chiaotzu back this time, it's a pretty sad moment, but it is interrupted by the fact that Krillin does think there might be another planet with Dragon Balls that might be able to bring Chiaotzu back, with Kami actually sort of knowing this as well. And this is sort of where they decide they want to head off to go to Namek still. So they all head off to the Kame house to talk to Bulma about it, and there's this nice moment at Kame house where Goku and Chi-Chi have a nice exchange because she's not seen her husband for a year, but she's seen Gohan every now and again. And she does check up on him, see how Gohan is. He's just a little bruised and beaten. The sensu covered a lot of the issue, and he's just tired now. So they decide that they'll explain what they want from Bulma the day after, just so everyone can have some rest. And like normal, Bulma does agree. And for the most part, everything here goes normal. Bulma is still taken to Kami's ship by Popo, and she is being taught how to speak the Namekian language. And her and her father start building the ship Goku took to Namek. But the difference here is that while they're waiting for Bulma to finish building the ship, everyone can get some training in. They were injured, yeah, but because they had a sensu bean pretty much straight after, their injuries are pretty much covered. And on top of that, the other difference is Goku asks if the ship they take to Namek can have a gravity core in, so they can do some gravity training on the way to Namek. So this time, instead of Goku just getting a lot of gravity training, it will be, Piccolo, Tien, Krillin, and Gohan. The groups didn't suffer a lot of casualties. They decide they're actually going to use the capsule corp ship to take to Namek. It's probably going to be faster, as Bulma's dad has been working on it a little bit beforehand, and now with the Namekian technology, they can sort of do it with a lot more ease. But also, it's going to be easier to fit the core in, and it will be easier to take a lot of people. So it's just the better ship to take. The only issue is they're going to have to wait a little bit for it to get finished being built. but that's fine because they'll just train until then. And to be honest, that's where I'm going to leave it for now. It's been a pretty interesting part. I'm sorry this one had a really big gap between it, and I don't know how many people like it. What if anyway. Let me know if you do like it, because I do quite enjoy what ifs which make the Earthlings a lot stronger. They're some of the best characters in the show, and I'm upset that they didn't get utilised a lot more. Anyway, I hope you have a good day or a good night, and I'll see you next time.